Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 42 of Wearables Weekly. I'm your host, Keith Acorn, and I'll introduce my other co-hosts, starting from my left, Aaron Caston.
Woo, hello.
Cecilia Abadi.
Hi.
And Libby Chang.
Hi.
And we're also joined today by our special guest, John Feig, who works at TalkRay, is also a Google developer expert for Google Glass, and wrote the now-defunct Ceramic Notifier and Hardy I/O, a heart rate monitor for Glass. Welcome, John.
Hi, thanks.
Cool. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. We've taken some time off because of all the events going on around Google I/O and stuff, but I guess everybody here went to I/O, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so.
The whole panel, excellent. So we have a bunch of experts. I'm very proudly representing my batch.
What's over there?
Oh yes. Mine's here. Hey.
Very cool. So awesome. So what do you guys think? Any particularly memorable sessions or events, or I don't know.
I don't know. I thought the ATAP session was a standout one in terms of like, everybody was pretty wowed. Who was, I think in the room. It was a pretty amazing session, I thought.
That was pretty awesome. Definitely my favorite session of the week. So, and it had a lot of production value too. Like you could tell they really put a lot of time into it. They showed off the Project Tango, which for anybody that's not familiar is like this really far-sighted sort of visionary product from Google, where it's like a tablet with a bunch of cameras on the back with depth sensors and stereoscopic vision, so you can map out whole rooms just like walking around with this tablet. And also the Project Aura, which was their modular phone. Pretty cool. And also, I don't recall the animator's name, but they went through this very interesting process of creating a film, like Duet, I think it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The other group was like the spotlight storytelling thing, which is kind of they're showing off with cardboard a little bit.
Cool. And just around the corner from I/O, we had a Google I/O extended event, and also the big Android meet and greet. So you want to talk about that, Libby and Aaron?
Yeah, the Google I/O extended went really well this year. Much better than last year, I have to say. I think it was a lot of fun. It was great meeting a lot of people, and we're definitely doing it again next year. That's for sure.
Very cool.
The meet and greet was a big success. We had 900 and something people register. We had probably about 350 to 400 show up over the course of the event. And we ran out of beer with about 20 minutes left and ran out of food with about 5 minutes left. So it was pretty well planned, I guess. I actually was hoping for leftover beer, so I was kind of disappointed.
And you had those really nice Fandroid mugs, too, to hold them.
Yeah, Fandroid came through with some awesome pint glasses. All our sponsors were great. The guys over at Cyanogen came out and represented and had a good time. And then we had NVIDIA there giving away some shields and playing some games. Wearable World hosted us. It was pretty awesome. Lime Fuel had some.
Oh yes, I was going to say I have to give a shout out to Lime Fuel.
Yeah, some battery chargers for everybody, which was nice. So,
that was real nice. For everybody that came to the extended and got a little battery pack. And actually, I stopped using the one I had before. That one's so much better.
Yeah, I don't use my little pocket battery backup anymore either. The Lime Fuel's that 6,000 milliamp hours is nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little portable battery.
It's got a flashlight, because you might need a flashlight. So.
Just in case. You never know.
And just to give credit where it's due, like I heard about the big Android meet and greet just like from people walking around the floor at I/O. I went to a couple of events after Android meet and greet ended from like Intel and Yahoo, and none of them were as popular as meet and greet.
Yeah,
so
that's
an awesome job.
What I heard. Thank you. I guess we did something right.
I agree.
The Wearable World guys were like, "Can we do this again soon?" And I was like, "Well, there's only one I/O a year, so maybe we could try doing something on like." I don't know, Apple's developer. I don't think that would go over very well.
Yeah,
different crowd.
It's a different crowd.
And stepping back a week, I guess the weekend before I/O, John, you had a hackathon, a glass-related hackathon.
Yep. Yeah, we did a pre-I/O hackathon for education in class. It was a lot of fun. It was we had about I think 90 developers and a bunch of other people come and watch presentations and stuff. It went really well. Everybody was pretty happy with it, and there were like no issues. I was, I was really shocked that it just went really smoothly. So, yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. I saw the pictures after the event and during it. So you had at least one judge I recognized, Alan Furstenberg. He's a friend of the show. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. And Libby helped out a lot. Thank you for that, Libby.
Oh, it was fun. It was a lot of fun to be a part of it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I guess coming out of I/O, the big news, normally we start off with glass-related stuff, but really I think the spotlight has to be given to Android Wear and all of the Android Wear devices. Where should we start? Do you want to talk about the devices or the platform? What do you guys think?
I guess the launching of the SDK was a really cool thing, because what we had before, the preview, was so basic and it was basically notifications, and now there's a real SDK, so that's very exciting.
You do some really cool stuff with it.
Well, since we had two active Glass developers on the show, Aaron and Cecilia, are you looking at moving your apps over to Wear?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
John, definitely.
Sorry, you didn't list it in the thing. What's your app? I forget.
John already has been moved to Wear, right, John? And you were mentioned.
Yeah, our company's app, TalkRay.
I'm so sorry.
So
yes.
we were one of the launch partners, yeah. So TalkRay launched with Android Wear support yesterday when they did the big release. So yeah, we got like a little preview access to the SDK and everything, and I think that I really do think that they're doing a lot of stuff right with the SDK, and especially in terms of being able to talk between the phone and the watch and making that communication really easy. I was really happy with how that worked, and then on the watch side, it's just Android, and you can use your views like you're used to, and they give you a couple nice things, but for the most part, it's very straightforward.
Very cool. So I guess we can talk about some of the hardware. So we all got a device from I/O. We had a choice of either the G Watch from LG or the Samsung Gear Live. So I guess starting from the left, Aaron, what'd you get?
I got the Samsung.
Okay, Cecilia?
Cecilia? Samsung Live.
Oh, sorry. John?
Oh, I got the LG.
LG. And Libby?
And I got the Samsung.
Cool. So, and I got the LG also, so we've got 3-2. You guys win this round.
We win! So why did you pick the LG?
I thought it had a bigger battery life, or a bigger battery. I didn't know what it was going to correspond to as far as battery life.
It's irrelevant, but it does have a bigger battery.
True. And personally, I wasn't so comfortable with Samsung. I know they've got their own smartwatch ties-in thing going on, and I kind of felt like maybe this was their backup plan. So it's kind of silly, but I wanted to go with a company that I thought was really all in, so LG. But frankly, I played around with both of them, and they both seem like really nice devices. And as far as comfort goes, I mean, the Samsung really is a pretty nice device.
It seems very custom. I don't know I don't know if we're showing the devices now, but it seems very tapered, even though it's not really. I think it's just an illusion, but yeah.
Can you hold that up a little closer?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I guess it's a little flat on the back, but it's got the sides that come down, so it does look a little bit more contoured. What do you guys think? Oh, there's Aaron.
And this one does have the heart rate monitor too.
Yeah,
but the heart rate you have to request, and it's just a one-off thing.
Yeah, really
yeah.
And I don't know if you tried it, but it's pretty inconsistent.
Oh,
yeah.
It is.
Someone was showing me you could just hold it up in the air and it would read a heart rate.
But not only that, if you do it in the right way, you will get 3 different readings that are 7 points different from each other in 3 seconds.
I'll be honest though, I don't think I've ever seen a heart rate monitor, and I've seen a few. I don't think I've ever seen one that hasn't been taken from the chest that's accurate. I've seen several that have taken.
The was accurate enough. The step counter is terrible though.
You know, I was actually fairly happy with the step counter. It's not that far off of my Fitbit.
Yeah, the one on the LG is within 100 of my Fitbit.
Well, I'm gonna do a cross check. I've got 3 different step counting devices on right now. So the Fitbit says 3,700, Basis is 3,000, and the Wear is 4,700. So I'm going with the Wear because it's giving me more credit. I'm gonna say.
Well, and here's the thing too. I think I take my Fitbit off earlier than I do my watch. So I will typically have about between like 500 to 1,000 steps more on my Wear than my Fitbit.
Man, I noticed I was sitting still and gaining steps. So
Yeah, mine is.
You were secretly walking, Aaron. You just don't know it.
Yeah, the watch says I'm at 14,700, and Fitbit says 14,400. So it's very
they're
close.
both terrible.
I gotta say, I just don't trust wrist-mounted step counters though, because I know there's so much walking that gets done that's not swinging your arms. Like if you're just walking at slow speed or around an apartment or something like that, that doesn't really count. So I do trust my Fitbit above all, but I don't know. I could be fooled. You know?
Samsung seems to be above, like seems to be giving you too many.
I think it is.
Yeah, Samsung is consistently higher than the others.
Well, you know what? I mean, that honestly, that could be an issue with the Android Wear because when I looked at my LG watch, I'm also like more than 1,000 steps above my other 2 devices.
Okay, that makes sense.
As
And
far as
that's what I was wondering because all they have is Wear, so that makes sense at least.
As far as the heart rate monitor, that was one of the features that I thought was really interesting with the Samsung because it wasn't ever talked about for the Moto 360 or the LG. But as far as the accuracy goes, I can tell you that John and I both have Basis watches, and it's doing the continuous heart rate monitoring all the time. And sort of like you said, it jumps around. Well, it also jumps around when I look at my Basis watch for an instantaneous reading. Like if I just pick a time and hit it, it can seem wildly off, especially if I'm like on the treadmill. I know my heart rate's up there. It might tell me it's 60 when I know my resting heart rate is like 70 something. Yeah. But over the day, I don't know how it somehow seems to correct itself. Maybe because it's doing so many measurements. Like you can see the trend throughout the day is very reasonable looking.
I don't know. Honestly, I have the exact opposite experience with the Basis watch. Like mine drops out like pretty frequently, and I actually got it replaced once and had both devices do the same thing where if I look closely at the data, like it'll be missing chunks of half hour, 45 minutes in between readings, and it especially does that when I exercise. So as soon as my skin gets a little bit sweaty, like it just can't read a thing.
Yeah, there does seem to be something about like elevated heart rates that it doesn't quite get. I'm not sure what that is, but
right. So that's why I have like 2 Bluetooth straps now that I've been using for the glass heart rate thing, and they're both like I don't know, kind of wacky in different ways. So like one of them just runs out the battery in a day, and the other one has like weird connection issues. So I haven't found a good one yet.
I'm checking my heart rate. It's kind of high right now. You guys got me excited.
Are we making you mad, Aaron?
Someone's got to port this over to our to Hangouts. We can see our live heart rate as we're like
81.
How nervous are you right now? I'm at 99, 101.
My heart rate's usually around 70, 75. I'm excited because we're on air. Woo! It's all for you guys at home. Well, we're at home too, but all you other people at home watching us.
75. Consistent. That's what I get a lot.
Putting us to shame. Nice. You're just so mellow, relaxed.
I'm hoping that there's apps that can take advantage of all that information, though, and there is apps that can monitor your heart rate regularly and stuff like that. Because there's definitely enough battery life in this that something could be monitoring my heart rate more often.
Well, I guess we'll get to that.
It's just taking the heart rate from the wrist. I think that's what the problem is. Because I've never had a device that does take the reading from the wrist that's been good.
Basis.
Well, it should be.
Even the Basis, I didn't really trust the Basis when I had that for
3 to 5 points. That's not that big a deal. You're looking at trends more than you are at what's my heart rate specifically at this point.
Yes and no.
It's not a heart attack monitor. It's am I hitting close to the heart rate I want when I'm exercising?
Target,
And
so
that's one thing that disappointed me a little bit about the Basis because, as we mentioned, it's not accurate when you're exercising. I would rather, instead of setting a certain speed on the treadmill or whatever, actually just get to a target heart rate and stay there. Try to stay there. And right now, I'd have to use something like my Forerunner.
when you're sweating.
Mm.
I remember that's
Yeah.
why I don't like watches, though. Took me like I walked out of the airport from my flight home and was like, oh, that's why I don't wear watches. It's like instant sweaty wrist.
Yeah. So mine's high. Mine's at 94. I did it twice.
You're excited too.
I am excited.
Really?
We love
So-
doing Wearable Weekly.
So John, are you doing the double-wristed thing too?
No,
The transition? No.
actually, it's funny. I switch like when I go to sleep, I put the Basis on for sleep tracking,
Gotcha.
and then I may wear it when I cycle, but I don't know. I kind of want, and I may do this before Google Fit SDK gets released, but like I want something that's just automatic that figures out what I'm doing and like tracks what I want to track, which I thought the Basis was nice for, but like didn't, for one thing, like all of the data is locked up right now in the Basis app, and it also like the fact that the heart rate wasn't accurate, and like I can't get access to that data to do anything else with it.
So they don't
that's
have
kind
any
of-
APIs?
Basis, no,
No,
not
Basis.
right. So they're one of the partners for the Google Fit thing. So eventually you will get access to that data, but I don't know. Like there's a lot of stuff that I want to play around with like heart rate especially. So that's kind of where the Hardy IO project idea came from. Although like now that the Google Fit stuff's coming, like I'm not really sure how much of that I want to do, like how far I want to take it before I need to rewrite everything. So-
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Basis is the closest that of any of the devices that comes to monitoring a lot of things automatically without you having to set it. I haven't really seen that with any of the other watches or any of the other health trackers. I should
But they
say
will
that.
never get the ecosystem. So realistically, in my eyes, everything that is not Wear or Apple, whatever iWatch they're gonna do, are dead. Pebble, forget Pebble, forget all the Basis, all the rest of them, and it's
I
done.
agree.
And I think that what's really cool about the watch and the fact that like you actually have access, like the Android Wear watches, the fact that you have access to Google Play services, you can do activity recognition on the watch. Like I could actually say, oh, you're bicycling, so I'm going to track at least how long you're bicycling for, and maybe pull like passive GPS readings to get like speed and stuff like that. I could easily do that right now.
But how long, John, before Google Play will do it? Because Google Play is already doing all of that in the Android.
Yep.
So there's certain things that you already see the big players going and doing, and Google for sure is one of them.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this stuff is available right now. It's accessible. The activity detection stuff is accessible. So today you could write an app for an Android Wear watch that would do like aside from the extra sensors that you get out of the Basis, but the automatic activity detection and tracking you could do right now on a Wear device.
Yeah.
Once the Google Fit stuff comes out, it's going to get even better. But you can do a lot of that stuff today without those extra APIs. So that's why I'm like, I'm pretty excited about Android Wear because of that. Like, because it's just, it has access to Play services already. Like, I've been waiting for it for forever on Glass.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know that they're it's like one of the top priorities, but yeah, we can start playing with it on Wear now.
Cool. So I'm going to let you guys talk about Google Fit. I'm having some weird technical difficulties, so feel free to just go ahead.
Do you have the Moto 360 before? Was that be before?
Go for it. So there wasn't a whole lot of details about the 360, but not more than we knew. But I guess we got a chance to try it on. What do you guys think?
Exactly. Yeah.
I haven't actually gotten to see one in person. I didn't go look at it.
It still seems super high, like the what do you call that? The width,
it seems
height?
really thick.
Thickness?
Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
really high up on your wrist. It seems, although
And that takes a lot away from the super sleek design that it looks like it's gonna be.
mhm.
It really doesn't seem like it doesn't translate into a watch that exactly is that what it was promised.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think I really like Samsung's design. I really do, and I wouldn't say it's much thinner than the LGG, but just a little taper that it does, it just feels so finished.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know. It's
And I think it's more resistant too, because like some people are already complaining that their LG watches have been scratched.
Yeah.
And I think Samsung, because this is their fourth watch.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing. So I imagine they're improving things, and their screens are molded. And
it's tough. I've already banged it like 4 times, and every time I do, I'm like, no! Oh, sweet.
Right?
Not glad.
Right.
I was happy with the, I guess I'm happy I didn't do any damage to my LG watch yet. But like you said, it does have these like corners that just catch on doors and things as you're walking by. Where I think the taper of the Samsung
that little taper does a lot. And I am not that delicate with my devices, and I don't have. Surprisingly, I have no scratches on it yet, and I've had it for about 4 days.
My other Samsung that I had for 2 months, the only place where it got a scratch was a little bit here on the back, but on the front it's perfect.
Seems like an odd place to put metal, because yeah, it's definitely going to get scratched there.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, the Moto 360.
Glass screen protector for it. I want a tempered glass screen protector for it.
Yeah, they did say that this LG watch is supposed to have what Gorilla Glass 3, which.
Oh, that's really good glass. Yeah.
That's good.
First I've heard of it. I've heard of Gorilla Glass 2 before.
I've heard of 3. Yeah. I think the OnePlus has 3, and so does the LG G3, I think.
As long as we're talking specs, I might as well mention. So the Samsung Gear Live has the resolution of 320 by 320 on a 1.63-inch Super AMOLED. That's actually the one feature that I really think is working in Samsung's favor. That Super AMOLED is a very nice display.
It sucks outside, though.
Oh, really?
So does the LG.
It's still better than it's still better than the LG outside.
I was disappointed in LG.
Direct sunlight. Every display sucks in direct sunlight. So.
Like I can't read the watch face, the dim version of the watch face in direct sunlight at all. Like I always just look at glass because it's like I can't use this watch as a watch.
When we had a Galaxy Nexus phones not that long ago, I remember that was the one thing that was it was so nice about it. That it just had AMOLED, not even Super AMOLED, but the AMOLED is just such a nice contrasty display, and Super AMOLED, I guess, is just a brighter version of that. It's probably also why it saves on the battery life, because even though the battery life or the battery is only 300 milliamp hours compared to the 400 on the LG, everybody's saying that it lasts a little bit longer. So
I don't know if it lasts longer, but it lasts. I mean, I'm at 50% now. I've been wearing it since 7 or 8 a.m. I mean, I'm at. What was I at 51? And I use it, all day. Oh, I'm at 40%.
Yeah, I'm at 60%.
49%. My finger was covering the percentage.
Yeah,
mine's at 65, and I've been wearing it since 8:30.
Yeah, so you'd get maybe an extra 2 or 3 hours out of the G Watch, but either way, it's still going to be noon tomorrow before I'm really running out of battery, probably.
Yeah, and you still charge it. So I still charge mine every night.
Yeah, me
so
too.
for me, it's kind of a moot point whether it lasts 36 hours or 40 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm really missing a lot of things from my Tyson watch, though, and I have to say it. I know I'm going to be hated. I don't believe in Tyson as an ecosystem, but honestly, having a button to go back to home, practical, fast, having all the...
Slap it with your palm.
Okay, yeah. Okay, whatever, but... there's a few things that I do miss. Like the access to the applications was much faster. It did have a sleep tracker, which we probably have soon here. There's a few things.
Now, if you start using a sleep tracker, when do you charge your watch?
Right.
I already got trained to charge my watch during the day. So when my desk, that's where I have my charger, and that's where I charge.
That's probably what I would
charge. You charge half an hour once a day. Easy.
Yeah. If they put some kind of cradle that lets you put it on your desk as if it were like a small little desk clock,
that'd be nice.
That'd be a good option.
That would be cool. No, I really think they have to increase. They're going to have to increase the battery life before they can have a sleep tracker, though, because I think not everybody has that luxury of charging it at a desk, especially if you want something with a step count or any kind of activity tracker. You're going to want to get the market of people who are more active.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, if you travel at all, it's like one extra charger you have to bring now. And that was one of the nice things about the Basis, and I've heard a lot of people say about the Pebble,
too. You only need this part. You only need the tiny thingy, because then the charger is the same.
Right. Well, yeah, except that now I have 4 devices to charge overnight.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, no joke, like 4 devices overnight that are getting charged.
Yeah.
That's a lot of.
Yeah, there was some time last week where I misplaced my basis charger, and I thought I was gonna have to rebuy it, so I went online to see how much it was gonna be, $10 or whatever. It was like 30.
Yeah.
It's like, any of these little weird proprietary chargers, until there's third parties out there to make them, they're really expensive.
Oh, and I have to say, every single watch, Moto 360, LGG, and the Samsung, they all have different chargers.
Yeah.
Which
We
is
can top that.
ridiculous.
The Samsung Gear, Gear Fit, Gear Live, every Samsung watch has a different charger.
Really?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all have different cradles, right? They all plug in with micro USB, but they have a different cradle.
Right.
Yeah.
They all have different cradles, and it's just
That kind of makes sense, though. Well, unless you do it like LG did, which is the right way, and it's just like magnetic, stick to it.
That is kind of nice. It finds its way back into the home correctly.
Yeah.
It's pretty easier than these because I usually spend like 3 seconds
have an
or
orange
5
one.
seconds.
What's the
That's from my previous, from my Gear too.
So does the Gear charger work on the Samsung watch, the Samsung Android Wear,
The Gear Live.
or the Gear Live?
Sorry?
It does. Does the
No,
Gear
they don't match. They're different.
Oh.
I'll have to see what they're doing within Intel. But I remember at CES they had this bowl, this charging bowl. I don't know if you guys remember this at all. I guess you'd sit about your entryway or whatever, and everything you sat in the bowl would charge itself—a watch, a phone, anything. And you'd have to like plug it in and find little charges. You store everything in the bowl, and you don't have to think about it. And it wasn't like directional or anything.
So Barbara
Barbara
Moline in the chat window says only 4 devices to charge at night. Nick says please.
Yeah, I have 12, by the way. When I was using all 12 USB ports that I had on my power strip when I was in California.
Yeah, we have a lot. I think when Keith and I travel, we've got a splitter, at least 2 splitters, and I think we've got, I don't know, we have a lot of devices to charge at night.
Yeah.
I usually when I'm traveling, I charge my battery pack, like 10 mega amperes, whatever they are, milliamperes, and with that, I'm sure that everything else will be charged during the day, in the worst case. So.
Well, so we haven't talked too much about the Moto 360 because it wasn't released. It was announced. I guess we already kind of knew it was coming out, but for later this summer. But that does have a wireless charger. So at least
Did you guys notice? Are you guys bummed that the 360 has an area at the bottom that does not have a display? How do you
I'm a
feel
little
on that?
OCD, but not quite that bad.
Little flat.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I think there's a proximity sensor or something in there.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then the LED, I think, is there too.
Yeah. So I don't know. The thing about the 360 that I didn't like was that there's no way to get at it with like ADB. The pogo pins aren't exposed. So it's got the wireless charger, right? Like, how are you going to debug something?
Right.
That's why I got that. That's actually why I specifically chose the LG, because I had like debugged stuff on the LG watch. I'm like, I know that this one I can, once the 360 comes in and I wear that one, I'll have something that I can actually develop with and like not need to package everything and deploy it.
I think I can help you with that, John. Actually, Cecilia and I were debugging this morning because I had an urgent question on how to get some information from my LG watch, but I didn't have the base with me. So you can actually Bluetooth pair it to your phone. Oh, okay. I'm imagining it's the same thing with the 360. So you can Bluetooth pair it to your phone, and then ADB from your phone to your desktop environment.
Yeah. I saw that. Like that was in the latest release of the Wear companion app. That wasn't in the one that I had used previously. So I was like, okay, I just want something that I know, like no question that it'll do it. So,
Gotcha.
so have you guys tried the like getting into ADB on the Samsung watch through the cradle?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
I'll be doing it tonight because I'm supposed to ask to follow up. So I'll let you know privately afterwards.
Okay. Cool, because that's one of the things I was thinking about when like when we were doing the development sprints, like the iteration cycle, if you can't talk directly to the device, it's pretty painful because you have to like package up a full APK on the phone and then like hope that it gets installed correctly wirelessly. like each time, that's like adding a ton of time to your each iteration. So so it's like really, really nice when we had devices that you could just like plug right in and hit with ABB directly.
Yep, I think in order to get over the Bluetooth thing, there was weird port forwarding you'd have to do. So I know none of that exists if you're just doing it directly.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I guess on the last device that's sort of been semi-officially announced, there's going to be an Asus Wear device coming out later this summer. Has an AMOLED display, kind of like the Samsung, but not quite as bright. But the real selling point here is that if this price target is correct, it'll be significantly lower than the other devices, which I guess we didn't really talk about the price. So the Samsung device is $200, available, I think, on the 7th, so Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And the LG watch is available today for $230. Today for shipping. And no price on the Moto 360. All right. So I'm going to skip ahead to the Google Fit. So I guess Google announced Google Fit as their sort of API interface. It's going to be built into Android or Google Play services or Android. I'm not quite sure which, but it will be like the one home that all of your devices can talk to. So if you have your Fitbit or your Pebble or Basis or whatever, they can all sort of feed information into one place and then have access to that information from all the other places. So who wants to take that? I guess Cecilia, like you guys are working on a fitness device.
Yes, we are already kind of trying to talk to the Fit team regarding Links Fit and integration. It seems like a natural place that multiple players are trying to have this space where they collect all the data together in one place with an API that is pretty open. And I guess Runkeeper tried to do it with the health graph before, and there's a few big players trying to be in that area. And of course, Apple will have their own, so I don't know. It's still going to be siloed. That's what I think. But we're trying to get the information from your exercise, for instance, workouts on Links Fit registered on Google Fit. So that's the first step.
I think it's an interesting idea. I don't know if it will really take off though, because I mean, there aren't a whole lot of fitness devices out there that measure a lot of different things. It seems like most of them just do step count and heart rate, and distance traveled. I mean, a lot of the basic things. So I don't know if there's really that many different things that really
there's also sleep, there's also food, there's also
That's true.
So there's many other things that go together there.
Right, but how many different devices are you going to wear? That's going to.
It's not only devices, but it's software packages. Like some people run with Runkeeper, some people run with Runtastic, some people. So there's all these. Some people use MyFitnessPal to track their food intake. So in the end, you could have all these different things, and they need to combine in one place.
Well, I think that what's more than just like the different apps that can do it is like one of the things that I really, really, really want to push for is just figuring out automatically like, hey, you're doing this activity, let's start tracking it, and let's track it in a reasonable way. Like, let's grab all the data that we can about what you're doing, so that you have it, then dump it into Google Fit, and like you can use that however you want, but the data is there. So, for example, with Runkeeper, Runtastic, you have to actually go and start those apps up. And it's really, like, I don't know, it's kind of obnoxious. It's the same thing with Strava on Glass. Like, okay, Glass, start a bike ride, and then I have to remember to stop it when I'm done.
Right.
But the APIs are actually there that you can do all that stuff automatically. Like, I shouldn't need to tell Runkeeper that I'm doing a run. It should just figure out, like, oh, yeah, you're going on a run right now, so I'll start tracking.
Yeah. I know TomTom, too.
Yeah, and, like, that was one of the things that I really loved about Basis, and, since, like, if nobody else does it, I'm going to definitely do it. Maybe I'll do it sooner than Fit is available, but yeah, I mean, I think there's that. There's like, you can come up with like a simple leaderboard app that just like, all your data is there. So why not do something like Fitbit has with its leaderboard, which is I think pretty fun. And you could like tie in with the Google Play Games APIs, right, to get a leaderboard. That's like almost free. There's like very little work to do there. And I think that they're also talking about providing better ways to get data from sensors. Like certain sensors, they said will just be supported, like heart rate monitors and stuff. Like you'll just have access to that. And I didn't get a real clear answer on that one, like how easy. They're like very fuzzy when I was asking them about that stuff. But yeah, I think that there's a lot that's very interesting about Fit.
Yeah, I'm very excited about just having this available because, you know, for us especially, but for anybody that is going from maybe wants to migrate from one platform to another. I know, like with Libby and I, we started off with Fitbits, and you know, over time, like I wanted to move to, I don't know, Basis Watch, or we talked about getting one of those little wireless scales, you know, and at the time,
I had it for a while, and
yeah. And you know, having all of these different platforms, like being siloed separate places is one issue. Also having, you know, for example, I mentioned I don't trust like wrist-mounted step counters as much as I trust my Fitbit. So I'd like to be able to have like, you know, my Fitbit measuring for the most part. But hey, if I forget it one day, I can just maybe supplement that with another device that I'm wearing. Anyway, just having it in one place I think is a really convenient option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to play around with it and see how it works. I just I mean, I'm still not completely sold on it just because I think everything, you know, as far as tracking my food, tracking all of that I use Fitbit for. I use their online app to track all of that information. So we'll have to see.
What might be really interesting is when you have this unique database, then we're going to be able to explore and do research and get conclusions, get relationship. That's the promise of the quantified self that I think finally will come true when you really have all the data and you can start finding the relationships. And third party will be able to do that if you authorize them. That's the really cool thing, I think. And then prediction, because that's the next step after tracking is prediction, right?
And I think to Libby's questions, it sounds like I don't think that the Fit is going to be an app that will have a front end. I think it's just going to be a set of APIs. From talking to the people on the team, like it sounds like it's just back-end stuff that apps will get access to.
Right. And more to your point, you said you like the Fitbit interface. Will say you want to use your heart rate monitor in your Samsung watch. If it's feeding into Fitbit actually can access that data. So you know, it gives, on one level, it gives hardware manufacturers the ability to talk to multiple software packages and also software developers to be able to talk to any device that's compatible with the platform.
Right. Exactly. Nice. Although Fitbit specifically is not listed, they weren't listed in the slide at I/O. They're not on the.
They're not yet.
I'm like crossing my fingers that they'll get there.
You know that Fitbit is already kind of in bed with iOS, and maybe that's preventing it to be in bed with Google.
I don't know, because you know I thought the closest partnership Apple had was Nike, but Nike was announced as a Fit partner. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. So I guess. Oh, and there's one more big. Set of news about Android Wear. So Google Play has gotten a new category for Wear devices. And let's see if I can pull this up real quick. I know I checked it this morning. There were like 20 apps, and now there's like
there was a good number.
They've been adding a lot.
I noticed some that were there aren't, like Evernote's not there anymore.
Was it there earlier?
Yeah, it was there like not today, but yesterday or whenever like the first like 12 launched, and they were the only ones that were there. And
then I see Talk Ray, which we'll be very interested in talking to John about in a few minutes. Also IFTTT, which is also very exciting.
Yes, which I put that on my glass today, or my Android Wear today.
And Lyft, you know, so for I/O, that was the first time I think I'd ever used Lyft, and yeah, it's pretty convenient. I can see why people like it and Uber. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, Lyft is. I prefer Lyft to Uber. I have to say. I think they're a little cheaper.
I liked the drive. Well, I mean, a lot of the drivers had crossover, but I thought the drivers on Lyft were I don't know. It was just more conversation.
Yeah, they seem more personable on Lyft, and it might be because they're in their own car, and it's not a car that they use to.
UberX is that way too.
UberX is the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we can move on to some glass news since we saved it. For some reason my dock isn't loading right, but As I recall, the first bit of Glass news had to do with Glass being available in the UK. So first international rollout of Glass.
Yeah. So it's being launched in the UK.
So they're sticking
It'll
with
be
the English-speaking
interesting.
countries. Mm-hmm. And 1,000 pounds. So I think that breaks down to just about the same $1,500 range.
I think it's silly.
You think they're rolling it out a little too soon?
Yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their plans are, so it's hard to say. But I don't think the device in its current form. Well, they're getting the 2 gig version, so hopefully they'll get one that works and will work for a while.
Well, they are getting the new version, which is our other bit of Glass news. So Glass rolled out a couple of updates. One was a minor but somewhat significant hardware upgrade. Now it's got 2 gigs of RAM instead of 1, which I know has been a little bit of a contentious issue among some people having issues with Glass right now. Did anybody actually get the upgraded Glass on the panel?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. Do you notice difference?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, I guess that answers it. And Cecilia?
I do too, and yeah, my Glass became a much better, but I also got 18.3 very soon after the update, so I don't know which of the two is the one making the big difference.
Well, I'll say 18.3. I have 18.3. It's my glasses. It's been lagging. It's been really difficult to work with.
I got 18.3, but only this morning. I haven't had a chance to really play with it. And Aaron, did you get a new Glass by chance?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Glass. I still have the same old piece of junk. So I did finally break down and call Glass support and say, "Yo, fix my stuff." And they were like, "Okay, put it on the charger and we'll get back to you. We're gonna run our remote diagnostics." And so that was like 24, probably about 28 hours ago. So now my Glass is being held hostage on a charger until somebody gets back to me. I'll probably follow up tomorrow. Well, nobody's going to be there tomorrow. It's a holiday, so.
Yep. Well, no one was there today. That's why I'm a little surprised.
Oh, nice. So my Glass is held hostage for the holiday weekend. That's great. That's awesome. Man, that whole team is just a cluster.
Well, I know. So Keith and I had gone to the Pride Parade this Sunday, and I noticed Glass was lagging really badly, which was unfortunate because Pride is one of those times when you want there's a lot of cool things that you want to just snap a picture of right away, and it wasn't doing it.
Yeah, I'll say it was a double-edged sword. There were some opportunities where it was awesome because I didn't have to pull out my phone, and it's kind of weird to be walking in a parade like holding your phone out. So it was nice to be able to take pictures. But like I said, I did miss a couple of shots because that 3-4 second delay that was going on just is a little too long when things are moving around so quickly.
Yeah, the camera is not usable for me anymore. I was trying to capture some moments with my little baby nephew, and I don't know if y'all have seen the picture where I was like throwing him in the air and catching him.
He's adorable.
Yeah, I mean it's one of my favorite pictures, and I think it's one of the best instances of a really great use for Glass. I got to catch that kid, so I can't drop him. And Glass worked really well for it. It took me a try or two, to get the timing just right. But I was just trying to get a picture of him like walking to me holding something, and it was useless. It was taking so long for the camera to take the picture. He's off doing something else by the time it even. So, yeah, the one thing I was using Glass for isn't even good for that anymore. It can't even do photos anymore. So privacy nuts, fear nothing. Glass doesn't work well enough to record you.
And we gotta believe it's temporary. It's taken long, but we gotta believe it's a temporary.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm over temporary. It needs I need a new device. That's the only thing that's gonna fix it. I've had 5 software updates since it got like this. Software is not fixing it.
But they also didn't release it as a consumer version yet. I mean, it's still like, to me, it's a development device. I wear it out a lot, but I don't really. I don't know. Honestly, I don't care if it's broken half the time as long as I can, get in and build stuff with it right now.
I don't either, as long as they're not giving other people upgraded devices to solve their broken device problems. I mean, I have a device that if I wanted to develop on, what's the point? It doesn't work.
Right.
And we do have an app on the market. I'm not the developer, but I can't even test new functionality. I don't have a device that works.
Right.
or at least not works well enough that I'm going to sit there and, it'll take me 3 or 4 times as long as it would have 3 months ago.
Right. I mean, I guess I'm talking specifically to the, people who maybe haven't upgraded yet, but or haven't upgraded hardware, but their device isn't actually broken. I mean, I don't know. I was dealing with the release 18 issues where reboot 5 times and it's annoying, but I never really looked at it as this is as critical to me as my phone is, and I don't.
No, I agree with that.
So.
I hadn't really complained. I mean, I would sit here and say I'm not using it because it's not usable for me until they started upgrading people. Despite them saying they won't upgrade it unless it has hardware damage, they are definitely upgrading people. I know at least 4 people who have been upgraded that had no physical damage to their device. And so, am I not kissing the right person's ass? If that's the case, it's a convoluted system that's broken to begin with. If that's their upgrade path, you have to kiss the right person's butt, then, it's doomed. If it's, okay, well, we just haven't gotten to you yet, that's another thing. If it's, well, we just really are playing favorites, then, again, it's doomed. They've sold, I don't know, I would guess around 20,000 of the older devices. If they're only upgrading 5% of that, glass is over. In my opinion.
As long as we're talking about glass issues, I did have one question. I just want to see if anybody else had this happen. So we mentioned taking pictures at the parade. After I got home, stuck it on the charger, it does this auto backup, which is usually really nice, except I realized that a few pictures I took weren't uploading, and I thought maybe they got deleted somehow until I hooked up glass, physically to the computer, and I saw that there's about 50 photos didn't move over. Have you guys ever noticed that?
No.
I checked, I made sure, it said, every photo has been backed up, but they were.
I did have an issue. I couldn't get rid of the notification telling me I had 7 photos that I'd recently taken with glass, and I'm like, go away. It wouldn't go away.
Gotcha. Well,
it's an expanded notification.
I'll send that feedback and see if it's maybe just a one-off issue. But, cool. So let's let's just skip the rest of this news. So we've had a good talk on Android Wear, and just talk to John. So John, you work for TalkRay. Do you want to talk about your what you do there?
Sure. Yeah, I'm one of the core team members. We've only got 5 people, so we kind of all do everything. Work a lot on the Android client. I've been, for the last couple months, I've been working on the server side with a very big change that we're looking to push out soon. I helped out with the Android Wear stuff that we recently released, which was both the enhanced notification stuff as well as we did something native, so you can respond to an incoming call or an incoming chat message with a voice response. One of the things that, after using Glass for so long, I noticed that when you have to respond with text-to-speech, you tend to look at the screen a lot. And so we were kind of thinking, it'd be great if you didn't have to look at the screen at all. You knew it was just voice, and you just, you just let it go. So, yeah.
Very cool. So TalkRay, it's a communication app. Looks like you can do free.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it's like an over-the-top communications solution. So it's kind of like WhatsApp or Viber. Our main hook is that we do group calling. We do it well, and we're also much lower impact in terms of data and battery than most of our competitors. I mean, in terms of data, we're better than just about anybody else.
Awesome. So
even for groups.
So as long as someone has data connection, maybe it's Wi-Fi or data without a talk plan, you can make calls and texts and stuff like that?
Yeah, I actually walked into work today. It was I left my bike at the office, so I walked the 4.5 miles into the office this morning, and I was on a group call with the rest of the team for half that walk. It was not noticeable that I was on 3G walking around outside. So yeah.
And so being one of the launch partners for Android Wear, that's pretty impressive. So what kind of functionality have you guys built in there for Wear?
So like I said, we did the so there's 2 things when you get an incoming chat. There's an auto response that's based on what you're doing. So we do activity recognition. If you're driving, you can just hit the auto response button, and it just responds with like, hey, I'm driving right now, I'll get back to you later. Or you can swipe one more over and do like a voice message. And then if you get an incoming call, you can either answer or ignore the call from the watch. So yeah, it was pretty simple. We really wanted to keep it simple because like one of the things that people kept suggesting like, oh, put a bunch of different like canned responses, and it's like, no, I wanted to have like one swipe and a tap, and if you start like making them read the screen, it really defeats the purpose of like having the activity recognition and just firing off a response. If I'm driving, like I don't want to have to like read the thing. I just want to swipe over and hit the auto reply. And I actually did that yesterday. Like I hit the auto reply once to somebody, and then I did a voice message to my boss who was bugging me about something. And it's like, yeah, hey, I'm driving around San Francisco right now, like so yeah, I think it's good, and I think it's also interesting. So we're watching like some other teams building stuff, and and like also talking to a lot of people that one thing that I thought was really weird was, and kind of I didn't expect, was just how few people really have their head wrapped around the wearable space right now in terms of developers. And so I'm like, really hoping that like with Android Wear actually launching, that people start to like get that a little bit more, like get what the experience is, like get what a good experience is, and kind of can start thinking about like what sorts of new experiences they might be able to do that are like good and not stuff that's going to suck you in or make you frustrated.
Sure.
Dealing with the thing.
So having some experience developing an app that worked with Wear, I mean, did you have any? Were you surprised by any of the process or the tools? Was it pretty straightforward? Like it did a lot of the work for you just by taking over notifications, or did you have to design things specifically for Wear?
So there was a little bit, like we have an APK that gets installed on the watch, and I was actually really happy with what the APIs looked like. So everything kind of just runs through Play Services. There's a couple things that are kind of Wear specific. There's these communications layers where you can just send binary data. You can just send whatever data you want, which was really, really nice. And then there's also like simpler APIs to send like kind of more basic data types. But yeah, I mean, I was really happy with how well all that stuff worked. The one thing that I think a lot of people were frustrated with was Play Services 5.0 is gigantic. It is huge. Jake Wharton just wrote an article about it. Like he just wrote a blog post about it today. It's like 20,000 methods that are in Play Services now, and there's a DEX limit on Android of 64,000 methods. That's like almost a third of your limit just in Play Services. And you can program that out, but when you're building like debug builds, you're not running ProGuard. So it's, yeah, that was, I mean, we had to spend some time to rework some stuff and to rip out other things that we didn't need to be able to use that. And I know that there were other developers who were frustrated by that as well. And I think that the Play Services team is starting to become aware that they might want to break up the client libraries for apps.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing really. I mean, everything else was really well done, I thought.
Cool. So now that you've had a little bit of experience, is there anything you want to try your hand at, or maybe any personal projects?
Yeah, so I really want to do like a leaderboard similar to Fitbit's leaderboard, where like I grab the step counting data from the watch and like do the play games API leaderboard sort of thing with like just how many steps you did, and maybe also do other sorts of activity recognition stuff on the watch, just while we're waiting for Google Fit to get rolled out. So yeah, those are kind of like the top things. And then I'm talking with Alan Furstenberg and Gerwin about a couple ideas that I don't know. I'll let them announce if we end up getting enough time between us to implement something. So yeah, there's I have a very long list of project ideas.
Cool, cool. Well, it's awesome that you're actually implementing some. I think developers have this tendency to come up with great ideas and wait for somebody else to do them because it's just it's a time thing. But it's awesome that you're working on it. Cool.
Yeah, of course. What I do though is like I do this stuff like 2 months before Google does, and then it's like, oh well. Then they announce it, like Ceramic Notifier. It had been around for 5 months or so, and then and then they announced it, and I was like, it's like on the one hand there were a lot of people who really liked my thing. On the other hand, like I have a lot of other stuff that I can work on, so I wasn't unhappy about that.
Cool, cool. Well, in honor of Nibble, I'll ask his infamous question. So you went with cotton for your glass. What drove you to make that decision?
So I actually had tangerine before, and so I have like the white Nexus, right, and then I had the Basis with the white band. So I was like, oh well, maybe I'll get the cotton. And of course, this thing I want to get the white band for this if I continue wearing it. I don't know. It's just like one thing I guess specifically was like I'd gone to a wedding with tangerine and it really didn't work with anything. So it was like white would be a lot more flexible.
Yeah. So I guess unless the bride picks tangerine as the color for the wedding, you're kind of out of luck. But hey, in the meantime, if you do get that white band, I forgot to mention David Lee had printed up these. By the way, they had these like the same day we all got our gear devices or our Wear devices. And anyway, so this is like his G-Pops, but for the LG. I don't know. Do they have a Samsung one yet?
They don't have anything for Samsung.
They have nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if they can because of the.
David, and I couldn't even use it.
Well, that's too bad. But on props to Andy Kwan. So I guess he took images that were like the press release images of the watch and modeled it, printed them, had them before anybody actually had a watch, and they fit perfect. So good job, Andy.
Wow.
Impressive.
Of course, the Samsung was like a total secret right up until
that was a surprise.
Right, like people were
surprises in this community. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The rumor is that they were going to give the 360, and when the 360 wasn't ready, they had to come up in the last minute with the other two, LG, and that's what I heard from someone that works at Moto. That shouldn't be talking about it, but.
Yeah, I felt that they would have liked to have given the option between the three, but I think if they didn't follow up by giving the Moto 360 at the end, I think people that would have otherwise picked the 360 would have been a little disappointed. So this is a nice way to sort of make sure we're happy with our gifts now, and we'll be happy when we get the other one in the future.
Yeah, so
I would like to have the LG Gear and the LG and the Gear Live, and I wouldn't want the 360 at all. But I'm sure people will get it out of my hands easily.
Well, you have an eBay account, right, Cecilia?
I do.
Cool. All right, so I guess let's just wrap up with our upcoming events. So we had the appetizer, the Big Android Meet and Greet last week, but that's waiting for the big event, the Big Android Barbecue. Do you want to give us any hints as to what we can expect, Aaron?
Not a lot of news to share right now. It's October 16th, 17th, and 18th. We're going to probably start announcing speakers in the next couple of weeks, and volunteer sign-ups and all that fun stuff. Buy tickets! Everybody buy tickets!
Yeah, we all had the privilege of making it out to the barbecue last year, and it was a great event. Very, laid back.
Yeah,
it's got like all these interesting talks, but also, you get to hang out with a lot of very interesting Android enthusiasts, have some barbecue if you're into that, and it's just an awesome place to hang out. Cool.
Thank you.
And there's one more event that Cecilia, maybe you can tell me about it.
Yeah, it seems like all the glass doctors, physicians that are into health, and they are planning a big conference. It's called the Watch, wearable technology in health, and they're planning this event in July in Indianapolis for the 25th and 26th of July, and it's going to be obviously all health centered. So if anybody here is into health, that's going to be a cool event to be around.
Okay. And I think, did we lose Keith?
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I will wrap it up then, I guess.
Yeah, we're done anyways. It's time.
Yeah. Well, John, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun having you on. And with that, I guess we'll sign off.
Next week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.